In late autumn of 2024, hikers on the eastern slopes of the Appalachian Trail began reporting something strange. At first, it was the wind, so they thought. Long, drawn-out howls echoing across valleys where no wolves had roamed in decades. But these weren't the cries of coyotes, or even anything known to zoology. They were deeper, hungrier. Then came the tracks, prints too large for bear, clawed but narrow. A staggered gait, almost upright. No known predator walks like that, unless it chooses to. Most dismissed it. Until the sightings began. 6 groups. All unrelated. Different towns. Different days. Each one described a figure, nearly identical. Broad-shouldered. Covered in dark, matted hair. Eyes, reflective, golden. Standing just at the edge of visibility, as if it wanted to be seen, but only just. They didn't describe an animal. They described a presence. Whispers spread through nearby towns. Stories, centuries old, resurfaced. Old men who rarely spoke of the past began locking their doors before sunset. Children were told not to stray from home, even in daylight. And deep in the valleys, something moved. The Cherokee once spoke of spirits that guarded the mountain passes. Nunahai, they were called, immortal beings who lived within the ridges and watched over the land. But these weren't the kind ones. These weren't guardians. These were the forgotten. What if the myths weren't metaphors? What if the stories our ancestors told around firelight were warnings? And what if, in our modern arrogance, we've ignored them for too long? What lives in the spaces between maps? In the unclaimed forests, the hollow hills, the mist-covered lakes no satellite dares to fully capture. What have we forgotten, or worse, provoked? Because something is happening. And those who listen closely enough know. We've opened the door to something we don't understand. And now, it's walking through. Across continents, and across centuries, the stories remain. Some carved into stone. Others whispered between generations. Warnings, disguising themselves as folklore. Creatures that walked among us, then disappeared, if they ever left at all. In the northern fjords of Iceland, fishermen tell tales of shadows beneath the ice. Long serpentine bodies that move just out of sonar range. They say if you listen to the ice crack just before dawn, it speaks back. In the depths of the Amazon basin, tribes untouched by modern life describe a creature older than the forest. Eyes that glow with the memory of something primordial. Flesh that blends into bark. And footsteps that never leave a trace. And in the oldest maps, there are places marked only with a warning. Not meant to be explored. Because the beings once worshipped, or feared, still linger there. And some have grown restless. What if the line between myth and reality was never meant to be crossed? What if what we've called legend is simply that which we could not explain, yet still persists? Tonight, we follow the fragments. we investigate three beings, separated by oceans, by time, and by culture, but bound together by something older than language: fear. They go by many names. In some cultures, they were gods. In others, demons. To science, they do not exist. But the stories remain, and the silence that follows them is louder than any proof we've found. The Wendigo. Deep in the frozen forests of North America, an ancient fear lingers. The Algonquin peoples, Cree, Ojibwe, Innu, and others, have carried its warning for centuries. They gave it a name, Wendigo. Not a beast of fur and fawn, but something far worse. A human soul, twisted, cursed. Born not of nature, but of transgression. The Wendigo is said to emerge when a person commits the unthinkable, consuming human flesh to survive a harsh winter, or allowing greed to consume their soul. As punishment, they become cursed to hunger forever. Gaunt, skeletal, towering as the trees. Its skin clings tight over bone. Sometimes, it wears the antlers of a great elk. Its breath freezes the air around it. And its heart, if it has one, beats with ice. In these cultures, the Wendigo is not just a monster. It is a reminder of balance. Of what happens when one takes too much. A spirit of insatiable hunger, haunting the edges of winter. For generations, these were cautionary tales. But in recent decades, the stories began again. Trappers in the late 1800s wrote of tall, silent shapes stalking the snow. They never found footprints, just drag marks, as if something floated inches above the earth. It wasn't a bear. This was tall. Wrong. It made the forest go quiet. Reports often mention an unnatural silence, as if the forest itself holds its breath. In 2011, near Boundary Waters, Minnesota, large tracks were found, each step spaced impossibly far, wider than a man's stride. Experts were called in. They found no match to any known animal. Not bear. Not elk. Not moose. Hikers disappear without a trace. In areas they knew well. Some vanish with gear intact, footprints ending in mid-snow. Campsites discovered, abandoned, undisturbed. Food untouched. Fire still warm. As if something called, and they followed. Some say it's the mind, unraveling in the cold. Wendigo psychosis. A real condition, where starvation and isolation drive a person to madness. Hallucinations. Paranoia. Cannibalistic urges. Symptoms that echo the legend. Others point to misidentification. Bears. Wolves. Owls, even when their cries echo strangely. And yes, hoaxes exist. Shadows manipulated. Prints faked. But the question remains. Among the Algonquin peoples, speaking the name is taboo. It is said to call it, is to summon it. that it hears, and it remembers. Some believe the Wendigo is more than a legend, that it is a force tied to imbalance, that when the land is pushed too far, it wakes. Psychology offers theories. But what of the tracks? The missing? The silence that precedes something no one dares name? The Wendigo may be legend, but its legend was born from need, from fear, from hunger. And hunger doesn't sleep. It waits. The Kraken. In the oceans, colder, deeper, older than memory, another stirs. One said to vanish ships without a sound, and pull entire storms into its wake. From the frozen forests, we descend into the cold, crushing dark of the sea. Here, in the black abyss where sunlight cannot reach, legends swell to monstrous proportions. In Norse mythology, they called it Kraken. A leviathan born not of flesh and blood, but of fear, storms, and the unrelenting unknown. The Old Norse sagas spoke of it. So too did Icelandic lore, where it was called Hafgufa, the sea mist, a creature so large it was mistaken for an island. Then came the Enlightenment, 1755. Bishop Erik Pontoppidan, in his Natural History of Norway, chronicled terrifying accounts of sailors who saw ships vanish into the sea, wrapped in coils that spanned entire harbors. The Kraken was real to them. Some say it slept beneath the Norwegian Sea. Others believe it migrated, chasing warmth, currents, prey. But always, it rose when men dared venture too far. And when it rose, nothing returned. Throughout history, vague accounts emerged. Some claim exaggeration. Others, witnesses lost to time, left only fragments. Then, science caught up. In 2004, the giant squid was captured on film for the first time. 26 feet long, living proof that sea monsters weren't just myths. Then came the colossal squid, larger, stronger, with hooks on its tentacles. A predator evolved in blackness. But myths don't end here. In 1997, deep in the Pacific, the NOAA recorded the bloop. A low-frequency underwater sound, so loud it was detected over 5,000 kilometers away. Officially, scientists blamed shifting ice. Unofficially, it sparked a question. What screams beneath the sea? Across oceans, whales have washed ashore, scarred with massive suction wounds, far too big to match any documented species. Some missing entire chunks of flesh. Some found in places far from their migration routes, as if driven there, fleeing. We've explored less than 5% of our oceans, and even less of its greatest trenches. In 2018, a classified sonar reading in the Philippine Trench tracked a fast-moving biological mass. Size, indeterminate. Shape, unlike any known whale or squid. Official analysis, inconclusive. Abyssal gigantism, it's real. Creatures in the deep tend to grow bigger. In the crushing pressure, time slows. Bodies adapt. Predators evolve unseen. Some scientists suggest the Kraken legend arose from real encounters with these giants, only distorted through fear and distance. Others warn that our changing oceans, warming currents, acidifying waters, are forcing ancient life forms into new territories. Upward. Closer. Many Kraken events could be misread phenomena: methane eruptions creating whirlpools, underwater landslides causing tsunamis, or large whale pods creating turbulence mistaken for limbs. But the myth persists. Not because it's proven, but because it's never fully disproven. Could something the size of the Kraken survive? The food requirements, metabolism, evolutionary design, all stretch belief. Yet in 2020, new cephalopods were discovered in trenches deeper than Everest is tall. Every expedition brings surprises. Perhaps the Kraken is not a single creature, but a memory of something ancient, primal, that still haunts the boundaries of what we know. Or perhaps it still moves, occasionally brushing against our world, testing the silence, waiting for us to come too close. But not all monsters come from the depths. Some walk among us, in the hidden jungles and burning heart of Africa. Stories speak of a creature out of time, a remnant of a prehistoric world, still living, still watching, still hunting. The Mokombembe. From the crushing black of the deep sea, we now enter a world of light and shadow, of silence broken only by the hum of unseen life. In the endless tangle of Central Africa's Congo Basin, a legend stirs in the swamps. Not of spirits or shapeshifters, but of something far stranger. Mokombembe. Translated from Lingala as one who stops the flow of rivers, this creature is said to be elephant-sized, yet unlike any known animal. Long-necked, smooth-skinned, and territorial, aggressive even to hippos and crocodiles. Some say it is a spirit. Others, a dinosaur that never died. The mystery deepened with the accounts of explorers like Carl Hagenbeck, who in 1909 claimed he heard stories of a swamp-dwelling beast that matched no known creature, but resembled a brontosaurus. In the decades that followed, expedition after expedition ventured into the rainforest. Eyewitnesses from isolated tribes, across hundreds of miles, described the same animal, despite having no contact with each other. A creature with a long neck, thick tail, and skin like an elephant. And then came the evidence. Footprints too large to be hippos, shapes in the water, too long-necked to be crocs, and then the film. In 1983, biologist Marcelin Agnagna claimed to have captured the creature on tape. But the footage was blurred, unclear, suggestive, yet inconclusive. Was it the creature, a trick of the jungle, or something in between? To mainstream science, the answer seems simple: misidentification. A swimming elephant, a floating log, or a monitor lizard glimpsed in poor light. But the problem is, the descriptions persist. Across decades, cultures, generations. The idea of a surviving dinosaur sounds impossible, but the Congo is vast, dense, and largely unmapped. Could it be an unknown species of giant lizard? An aquatic mammal yet to be catalogued? Biologists cite overwhelming challenges: food sources, climate, and most crucially, a breeding population. Yet the region hides hundreds of undiscovered species. And cryptozoologists aren't so quick to dismiss what locals have always known. One tribal elder once said, "You call it a myth because you've never seen it. We call it truth because we have." Unlike the icy north or the crushing depths of the sea, the jungles of the Congo remain alive, unmapped, unknowable. Mokumbembe might be myth. It might be misremembered memory. Or it might be something else entirely. A creature that never went extinct, just hidden. For now, it is a whisper in the undergrowth. A shadow behind the reeds. But what if it's waiting? Wendigo. Kraken. Mokumbembe. Creatures whispered through generations. Born of hunger, of depth, of wilderness untouched. Are these merely myths, projections of our fears? Or echoes of something real, something buried beneath time and trees? Maybe folklore is not fantasy. Maybe it's memory. A warning. And perhaps, just perhaps, in the dark corners of the earth, they are beginning to stir once more. Which of these legends do you believe might hold a kernel of truth? Leave your theory in the comments below. And if you're drawn to the forgotten, the mysterious, the nearly lost, subscribe for more journeys into the wild unknown.